Kurt Volker is a former U.S. ambassador to NATO. Good morning. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. I'm hoping that you were able to hear Stoltenberg answer that first question. There's more to come for him. But he keeps being asked about Trump's comments last weekend at that rally about inviting Russia to attack any country that doesn't pay its defense fair share towards NATO. And I can't help but wonder or think that this is not what Stoltenberg wants to be talking about, Kurt.
Absolutely. Although he has a good answer, and I think we were listening to a good answer, which is that NATO allies have been spending more on defense. NATO is more unified than it has been. We are modernizing our defense capabilities within the alliance. So he has a good story to tell. But you're right. Those kind of comments from former President Trump that suggest Russia should attack a NATO ally, those are completely disruptive. Obviously, he was bragging about what he claims he said in the past. It's not a prescription for the future. And obviously, he was saying it in order to get more money for NATO, which would strengthen NATO. But even so, those kind of comments are divisive. They cause concern in Europe. And it's not the focus of what we should be talking about.
Jens Stoltenberg did not want to comment publicly on U.S. reports that Russia is developing nuclear weapons in space. Why not, do you think?
Well, I think it's still classified, for one, so you want to be careful about what you let out that we know so that Russia is not clued into exactly what we do know. Secondly, I don't think there's really been an opportunity to digest what does this actually mean? What does it change in terms of our security threats compared to what we already knew? So it's going to take some analysis and perspective before anyone's really ready to talk about this.
Canada's Bill Blair announced that this country will send Ukraine $60 million. What are the expectations here, do you think?
Well, 60 million is important. We need a lot more for Ukraine, and the U.S. security assistance package has to come through. I think that it will. I know that the votes are there in the House of Representatives. A majority of Republicans and a majority of Democrats both support it and want to see it get to the floor. We're just trying to figure out how do the mechanisms work to get this to the floor without Speaker Johnson being threatened in his position. So I hope that this gets done. We can't predict exactly how or the timeline, but I think this continued assistance for Ukraine, military, economic, humanitarian, is very, very important to demonstrate to Vladimir Putin that he is never going to win here. He's never going to eliminate Ukraine as a country.
And as we heard again from Stoltenberg, an investment in Ukraine is an investment in everybody's security.
It is. If you just look at the package that the Senate just passed, for every $1 of security assistance that's being transferred to Ukraine, there is $2.50 being invested in modernizing the U.S. defense capabilities. So it is helping us modernize, helping us gear up our defense industry, something we needed to do anyway. And in the process, we are also helping Ukraine defend itself against this kind of aggression that we see from Russia. And ultimately, our commitment is to the security of Europe as a whole. That's what NATO is about. Preventing war, deterring war, securing Europe. And I think we can see now that there will not be peace in Europe as long as Ukraine is outside the alliance. We've got to help Ukraine, and we've got to bring them into NATO and then reestablish a strong basis for deterrence.
From your lips to Zelensky's ears, Kurt Volker is the former U.S. ambassador to NATO. Thank you so much for your time with us this morning.